How you doing, man?
Doing good.
Oh, wow.
Didn't know what kind of show we'd have tonight. It's been kind of a crazy week trying to put it all together with all the different schedule changes and whatever. But this has turned out to be a big night. We had that kid from Grimsby over here earlier, Bruce Davis, hit that game-winning shot against Dudley, beat the Panthers. He scored 37 points that night. Just had the young man Spencer Wilson, who's just been inundated with all kinds of requests for visits and interviews and things the past couple weeks. Just dropped in on us and just did a super job.
And and I was sharing with Don and Willis, Spencer's father, and Spencer, tonight is the night I'm in school and they cancel classes, and I was on my way. I said I'm coming straight over here just to see Spencer, well, you and Don as well, but see Spencer Wilson. Because when you see a person that have had a second chance of life and everybody know it of because of the shot, I was thinking about this coming over, and I said 2 shots to hit 1 shot. He got 2 shots at life to hit the 1 big shot. And everyone has a 1 shot life story. It may not be on the basketball court, but a person that was addicted to drugs, now they're straight. That can be a 1 shot. Person that had criminal history and somebody gave him another shot, that's a shot. So we all have had that 1 shot in life that had propelled us to the next step in life. I've had my 1 shot, so it just brings tears to your eyes.
It's interesting too to have the doctors tell a kid you got a 7% chance of survival.
7%.
7% chance.
That's almost like, and the 7% is just a few days, if you calculate it, Don is the math genius, a week. If you calculated that percentage, you're right, you don't have months and years, you don't have time to even make a schedule or things to do for your last minute bucket list because you're around. But I'm so glad that the doctors doesn't have the say to give or take away of life.
In a great position was standing in and watching over Spencer, man, and kept him here with us.
It's amazing.
And it was a reason. It was about that basketball shot, and that basketball is going to be his way to reach a lot of people because people know who the kid is now. They've gotten to know him through TV and through all the different forms of media that have gotten the name out there. Just kind of told Spencer about the fact the first time I ever heard of Spencer was through Greg Johnson, my old buddy out of High Point, told me about this little kid who all these coaches are trying to get on their travel team back when he was probably 10, 11 years old, back when Spencer was real young. And then Greg said, this kid's he's the young phenom, the brother of Weston Wilson. His brother is on the baseball team, a freshman at Clemson, could start for Clemson this year with DJ Reader down there. But then Greg told me all about this, and then Greg, goes on, and Greg dies of cancer. That's how crazy it is.
It really is. And you and I both know we've had people in hospice, and as you said, you go in one moment and the next moment they're gone. And when you talk about cancer twice, so some people only get that 1 shot, but this young man have had 2 shots, and then consequently
and
he hit the big shot.
That's right.
And that's amazing. And that's what I said to him soon he walked in the door. I told his dad, it's not about the big shot, it's about the 2 big shots, and that's the humbleness of his father in Spencer. I mean, man, it's amazing.
It makes you just stand and sit in awe.
It really does. And
the
really
thing you want to do though is play this kid about how good is this kid. You want to get this kid on the court and see how good he really is. You want to go against him a few times. You don't mind getting burned by a kid like that.
Right. You're exactly right.
After what he's gone through.
And one of the sayings that you have here, the face of the franchise. So the face of the franchise of 2014 will certainly be the Spencer Wilson shot.
No doubt.
And I'm glad I had an opportunity because I was ready to leave several times. Coming in, I was ready to say, John, I got to go because since I didn't have class, I was going to get home and do some things. But it's just to see this kid and to be around. I'm telling you, we've had some outstanding shows, but when you talk about a miracle show, this got to be that miracle show.
That's what this kid came through. And the thing about it is he's come through so much, but there's so much ahead that can still happen for him and the people around him.
And I get excited. I know we're on
he's got his good teammates, Nick Eford, Jack O'Halloran, Logan Weathers, Will Gardner, and the list goes on and on. Just an excellent team over Bishop McGuinness. Hope these guys win the title this year.
And that would be the special.
It
That would
would
be the special part of it. The miracle shot and then the state championship. Dana almost put a period behind this young man's season and his career on what he's done. And the other part to the story is they put the ball in his hand at the end.
Yeah.
You know, the gentleman.
Any other team, Mount Airy's missing that shot on purpose to end the game because they got a 1-point lead.
Right,
We're going to end it right here. We'll just miss it, and the ball hit the floor again. Will be over. But the wherewithal of Will Gardner to grab it and hoist it to Spencer,
just give it to him.
shot. And that was tougher in a lot of ways than Grant Hill to Christian Leitner because Leitner was just around the top of the key.
That's right. He was
called the ball turn and
That's
shot.
Right. That's right.
And Hill actually was as big a part of that play as Leitner was, and Will Gardner in the same way with Spencer. But Spencer had to go the longer distance.
Right. And then you go back to Lorenzo Charles when NC State won their state championship when they beat Houston with Elijah One and Clyde Drexler them, the five.
Derek Whittenberg puts up that
he
long
just
shot.
turn around and throw it
It
up.
doesn't hit anything. The thing that's still crazy about that one is I'm almost thinking that ref could have almost called goaltending because the ball was around the cylinder and Lorenzo snatches it from the cylinder, just slams it home. The miss by Whittenberg, who still tells people to this day that was a pass.
That was a pass. I can't understand how that was a pass. But Lorenzo Charles, when he dumped it in, he was like, what happened? And then
I don't think he even realized, like you said, what happened until later. It was just all so quick.
Right. And then everybody, no one would ever forget the shot. Jim Valvano at the end. That would be the history
thing
run.
of all is Jim Valvano died of cancer. He went through that whole deal.
He went through that whole deal.
He went through all that. Jim Valvano went through all the treatments.
Kay Yao.
Kay Yao. She's also gone. And even Lorenzo Charles, he died driving the bus.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And you look around and guys like Dennis White, he's still here. Guys like we're still here for some reason.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're still here.
Well,
and then Big Jim Martin, talking about Big Jim, how that.
Look at Greg Johnson. I always asked her about Greg, who was so much in the sports, and the two kids, bringing those kids along. Will and Taylor,
That night, Will kicked the game-winning field goal, and you and I was talking about that, and Greg called that in, and then next week you told me, say, man, Greg Johnson in the hospital, this, that, another. Will father, I was like, because because I used to converse with Greg a lot with all the scores, when I was doing the scores. And it's amazing, man. It's amazing. But I'm so thankful for you, the life that you have, the walk you have to bring people in.
To get people in.
It's amazing, and
just to get people a chance, maybe down the road, to hear some of this, maybe see some of this, and hear what we had a chance to talk longer with Spencer than they do sometimes on the other features. Those are outstanding. That's what gets us pumped up to get these people to come join us. But a little more time to get a few more details, find out a few more things.
And I was at awe, man, for the first time watching you interview someone. And you take the sport out of the sport and put the spirit in the spirit realm. And just to hear this young man, there was not one moment in his chair that he ever gave himself credit for anything.
Every time I would bring up NC State, the big college, well, I don't know about it. He knows. I mean, his thing is he's got things in the proper perspective, proper focus.
And another athlete would have been sitting here, another kid that didn't have to battle what he battled. Oh yeah, I did this, and and become boastful. But he is thankful out of the whole ordeal.
I also thank Mr. Davis tonight, Bruce, who came in, Mr. Herbin, both those two kids in the Grimsley JV team. Like Mr. Herbin, Mr. Davis, they came out tonight as well. Bruce and young Herbin from Grimsley, and Corbin Davis. You got to talk to Corbin's son.
Corbin. I've been knowing Corbin for a long time.
He's a good one.
He was an A&T sensational, and he's doing a lot. Matter of fact, he helped Nathan some.
Yeah, Nathan can do a lot because Corbin can shoot that basketball.
Yeah, Corbin can really shoot that. And the thing about the show tonight, you had an old legend, and then the old legend and Corbin Davis, and then you have a new legend.
A link to the past, a link to the future.
Because Corbin had a shot that went down in A&T history against Winston-Salem State when he shot a similar shot, like Spencer Wilson. So he went over. The first thing he said when I told him, he got so excited. I said, Corbin, this the gentleman from Bishop. Oh yeah, and then went over, started talking to his dad and all. But one of the things about Spencer Wilson, he walked in the door, he embraced me with the biggest hug. This is one of the this is a humble kid, man. You know, when you go through things in life, you become so humble, you know, because the Bible to let us know that he humble those, he exalt those that humble themselves, you know. And this young man have a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, I like to think about it too. I mean, from that perspective, that Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. And what this kid's been through, I mean, that just makes that whole verse ring true like crazy.
It does.
I mean, it makes it. He has done a lot to get through all that, but he couldn't have done it by himself. He had help from a power above. God help him. It's been a good thing.
Churchill once said that things happen because things happen, and I'll never forget that quote from Churchill. And that's the thing, things happen because things happen, and that shot happened because of the fact that somebody needed to see him, not for the last minute shot, but for the last minutes of life.
And really, he was really incorporating his friend Josh Rominger in that shot too. The kid's name he had signed in that basketball he'd been
touched
with.
it.
Josh Rominger right there.
Yeah, man, I get chill bumps all over. I just get so excited. And then I thought about you the other night. I was listening to the truck driver special. I always listen to old preachers. And I went back and I listened to the truck driver special. And I began to just think about all of the old patriots that's gone before us. And when you think about the young people now, you know, when you think about young people now, that
I'll tell you the crazy thing, like you bring that up, it was, I maybe mentioned it briefly in a basketball game last week we did, but had a student of mine from Vandalia from years ago who had died last week, 45 years old of cancer. Remember that little girl when she was like 7th grade, maybe 12 years old? And now the kid, cancer took her out last week.
It's amazing. And as I said, when I was listening to Brother Mays Jackson on the truck driver special, he was just talking about how good life is and how good life is. And I thought about you, and because you always tell me every day, always make the best of that day. You know, and that's what Mays was preaching on. That a lot of people didn't believe it. That was his topic. They didn't believe it. So his story, a lot of people didn't believe his story until you seen this story.
Yeah, like he talked about coming in, Spencer did, the backstory, all the stuff behind it, behind the shot, all the things behind it that came through.
That's good. I like that. I appreciate that, Ed. I like getting things from Andy, nuggets from Andy. That's a good golden nugget. The things behind me, you know, it's you looking at me now, but you don't know the things behind me that propelled me to where I am.
Yeah, it's like last Sunday, hit the basketball court, and I said, I'm going to do a few things there. I'll usually do my little Sunday workouts, but started shooting free throws. Ended up getting 23 out of 27. I told Raylan Davis, Corbin's daughter, I said, it's kind of crazy to stop at 27, but I got tired of chasing the ball. I was by myself. I told her, sometimes that ball, you know you shot it perfectly, and the ball comes spinning right back at you. But, you know, I thought next time I'll go shoot the 100. I'm trying to go 88 out of 100, maybe something like that. But anyway, the 23 out of 27 felt pretty good. Wasn't too bad. Wasn't a bad workout. But
that's not bad.
The thing about it is you got to keep doing it, like these kids say.
You just
got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Our good friend, Mr. Obama, said the other night, and he brought out a lot of different points that at one point he did bring out, I think rings true. It's not always going to be easy.
Right.
It's going to be hard sometimes along the way.
And that's the thing about it is, that's just like with me, I remind myself every day, getting back into school now, that failure for me is not an option. And I think that when failure is not an option, you have to succeed and to be successful. You know, the funniest thing, him and I, we're superstars, and y'all don't know, we have a TV show, Dennis the Menace, Mr. Wilson and
That's
Dennis.
right. Those were good days. Kind of a tough neighborhood at times out there for you guys. But you came up the hard way and
That's right.
made it hard with Mr. Wilson. Those were good days.
Yeah, Dennis the Menace and Mr. Wilson. But, you know, and his dad, Spencer's dad, is just so humble. He's so just thankful for their son's life. Oh, man. And he he said that he would give anything for the moments of the 2 times that he heard the doctor say, this is it, this is, I mean, it's amazing, man, life, and I love it. Oh,
yeah,
man.
The battles are interesting,
Yeah, we all have them. We all have
the battle's over and the victory's been won.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Keep watching that kid because he'll do some big things.
Yeah, and we have certainly befriend another future athlete, another future kid, and you know that's one thing I love.
He's going to get bigger
sports.
too. If he stays
really
healthy, he'll get bigger because if anybody goes back and watches these NC State games of Tyler Lewis, if you saw Tyler Lewis as I did back when he was in 8th grade, this kid now looks like he put on 20 or 30 pounds. I mean, he doesn't look like the same kid.
That's right.
And And Tyler worked so much with Spencer too back in those days. I mean, helping him come along with his basketball. It's an amazing story.
And that's one of the things I love about Greensboro sports. You get to meet so many people. It's amazing. Like the kid we met, you had on the show from Mebane.
Lamont Junior Robinson.
Robinson. A lot of people would never even ever heard of him because of the location.
Exactly.
And there's no media outlet. And then, when you had Shayla Burnett.
Yeah, we want to get Shaylin in here. A goal of mine, I have these little crazy goals I get. I want to get Shaylin Burnett and Paris Key in here on the same show toward the end of the year.
That's a Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, to get both those kids in. I mean, you got to have some goals.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Two in here. Spencer's thing worked out great, though, because Spencer was so busy last week he couldn't come in, but he said this week he'd be here. He and his dad were here. Yeah, I've got the Page boys basketball team lined up for 2 weeks from tonight. They just hit number 1 in the state this week. Number 1 team in the state, but couldn't come in this week because of the Guilford County practice schedule, so you're not allowed to do anything. When school's not in session. They can't even come to a show like this. School's not in session.
That's one of the rules. When school is out, no activities of no kind. And congratulations to Coach Abel thus far. And one of the things that tomorrow night is going to be a fun night.
We've had some wild nights. I hope that comes out good tomorrow night because we've had 3 weeks or so in a row. We went to that game over at Southwest. It was just wild and crazy. Southwest versus Ragsdale. Then last week over at Greensboro Day, that was just like being at the Asheboro Zoo on a late night when the zoo was closed. And then it went wild, got open again on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon. Then tomorrow night over at Smith to try to get that Smith-Dudley game going. That's going to be a wild one too because you won't have it the first time when they went over to Dudley. Smith beat them by about 20.
About 20 points. And one of the things about that Dudley and Smith rivalry, you usually don't have those blowouts by Smith doing it to Dudley. Usually be Dudley doing it to Smith. Usually Smith beat Dudley. It's a real close 2 or 3 4-point game. But I can't recall that a Smith team blew out a Dudley team in years. And I know you've been following that a lot closer.
We've done a lot of stuff too with Dudley over the years to kind of build up the Dudley program, helped them out. And it's kind of interesting too. So I thought about it the other day, going back to some memories. Think about we were able to build up that Smith program back when they went outside of Coach Brian Jones. Smith never got a lot of recognition, but we got Tracy Gathens was like our man. He was our brother. Tracy Gathens, Drew Williams. We had those guys, man.
That's right, for the conference
championship. We had those guys for a couple of years. It was amazing.
Yep, you're exactly right. And they was just Tracy Gathens just wringing down sweat. And I remember that. You're right. I remember that night well.
Yeah, and going back to Frankie Eves and those kids from Page, man.
That's right.
James Summers was interesting too because I remember nights. I think Page won that title over Dudley one year. They won that championship in the finals of the boys game. And there's James over the big old grin on James' face, just as happy as he could be, man. Just soaking it all in, taking it all in. That's good.
See, Coach Kent just always quiet, but he began to be
when he started yelling, though, you knew it though, man.
It's certainly,
you knew it.
right.
And then Jackson Kent got the Colonial Athletic Association Player of the Week again for this, or Rookie of the Week for the second time this season this past week. Just a super job. I told Coach Corbin that Jackson Kent wouldn't surprise me if Jackson made it to the pros one day.
Yeah, I
6'7" guard, he can play the point.
He can play the point. He's a real good athlete.
But I told Spencer who I felt like the player of the month is for the entire state of North Carolina. I kind of caught him off guard a little bit. I said, I'm talking pro, I'm talking college, on high school. Player of the month for the state of North Carolina to me is Al Jefferson, Charlotte Bobcats.
Right.
The big center. He just had a whale of a month.
He had a super
We need to get him in here.
That's the next step.
The crazy thing is, one more crazy thing, we're about ready to close this crazy thing down. Somebody today, these cold nights, you still do these shows, right? Trying to get these shows in. Tonight's show is almost gone. Able to pull a great show together with Corbin Davis, Raylan Davis, Bruce Davis, Mr. Herbin came in. We had Billy Wilson and also had his father, had all those guys, Spencer Wilson, with us. But back in the day on the radio days, had one of these shows back, I guess, about the late 90s. We were doing the UNCG Coaches Show. Real cold night. I said, we're going to do that show. Get to the station. Got to get that show on. The coach looked for the coach's house. So the guy setting it up was Seth Bennett. Seth was in charge at that time over UNCG, the kind of promotion stuff. Now Seth's got a full-time job at Charlotte Bobcats.
That's
Seth's the Bobcats. And the coach at that time at UNCG, that guy's in the team in the top 10, Fran McCaffrey, and he's now at Iowa.
Right.
And these guys probably making $1.5 million a year.
Exactly.
And another interesting point, too, Coach Freddie Johnson just took his team out of town today to get down to Florida, to Montverde, Florida, taking this Montverde tournament. They're number 4 team in the country with Coach Johnson. And guys were telling me this week about the coach about
going
down to the big tournament in Orlando. The guy was telling me today about I don't know, somebody else told me about the coach at Montverde, that high school coach. pretty good numbers. $135,000 a year, nothing but a coach.
$135,000
a year coaching a high school team and nothing but coach.
And nothing but coach.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's not a bad deal.
And in the state of Florida, you have a 7A, 8A. You have those. And Coach Rodney Brunson. Rodney Brunson went down to Florida. Now he never disclosed his salary, but to up and move his family to Florida, they had to offer Coach Brunson a nice salary to do that. But as you said, $135 a year to coach high school basketball. Unbelievable.
$135,000 a year, but Dave, then you look at Coach McCaffrey, who was over at UNCG a while back. He's going to be making probably $1.5 million a year at Iowa.
Right, that's right. Now,
he had a player. He
wasn't
Notre Dame. I think Coach McCaffrey was assistant there. Had this player hook me up on. I said, "We'll do this interview." This guy. I said, "Okay, who is he?" He goes, "This guy named Troy Murphy at Notre Dame. Was a big name player. Didn't know much about him. Here we are doing a call in on the coaches show. We're getting Troy Murphy. This guy. What do you say, Troy? Never met this guy before.
Never met him before.
Boom, boom, boom. Worked out fine.
Wow.
Worked out great. Yeah. But it's about like Shane's Rib Shack. You got 50 wings for $35 coming up. That's a big deal for the Super Bowl. 50 wings or 40 tenders. Shane's Rib Shack Super Bowl deal, $35, 50 wings. And those wings are so big you can barely pick them up. There's so much chicken meat on those wings.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on that deal. I was just telling Don about it. I told Paul earlier I'm going to go on and sign up for that deal. I always like to patronize Shane Rib Shack.
Appreciate that, as always. Well, appreciate the good job the guys did tonight, Don, on the site with us, getting the job. This was almost a show that was going to be a no-go because at one time it looked like we were just going to postpone this week because the public schools were not in session. I called Corbin up. Well, here's what was at Corbin. He was going to be on earlier in the week. He got a lineup at Corbin. Want to get a private school, get a young lady in, his daughter Raylan, and Corbin and them. But then they were going to play tonight. Their game got moved to tonight, so they couldn't come. Then all of a sudden he called me last night and said we can come because the game got postponed. So worked out perfect getting them in. I picked up went on the news and record online. They're reading the article by Jerry Rowe about the Grimsley JV team with a kid that was with us tonight. Bruce Davis hit that game-winning shot the same night Spencer hit his game-winning shot. Saw it on the website. I called. What about getting your that kid in here? What is it? Can we get it? Yeah. Here he is. He comes in. Found out that kid scored 37 points that night.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's crazy. Then we got Spencer and his dad Billy came in. Worked out great. And then all of a sudden I look up and look to the door. There comes Dennis in.
All your miracles.
We were in the bonus. We got in the bonus situation at about 6:45, 6:30 when Dennis walked in.
Yeah, glad to be here. And and I've learned, and sometimes in life, the best things are happening as those that are unexpected. Sometimes things don't go as well as planned. They go better than what you had planned.
That's right.
When after it's all over, said and done. So it's an outstanding show. I'm glad I was able to come tonight. Yep. Outstanding.
Again, thanks to Corvin Davis, Raylan Davis, Bruce Davis, Mr. Herman that came along with them from over at Grimsley, young man, and also to Spencer Wilson's dad Billy that came over from I guess High Point or Kernersville. They're spread out quite a bit over that way. They do a super job. Glad to have them in, and looking forward to the future. Big game tomorrow night, Smith and Dudley. Don't forget again our Super Bowl contest at GrainsboroSports.com. Get in that Super Bowl contest, $100 gift card from the Texas Roadhouse. If you win that contest for the Super Bowl, get in on that contest, and don't forget Shane's Rib Shack. We've got the wings, 50 wings or 40 chicken tenders, $35. 50 big wings from Shane's or the 40 tenders, $35. Biggest wings in town. And how do I know that? That's what Paul told me, so I believe Paul. And how do you find out? You buy them and see. You need to get those wings.
That's right. That's exactly right.
It's not The Rock said so, it's Paul said so. That's how it works these days at Shane's. Dennis, look forward to the big game tomorrow night.
Looking forward to it. Outstanding.
I ran a couple of your buddies this week, said they were going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Old friends.
Real good.
Two little midgets said they were going to get in there.
Well, they're going to have to get there early because those games, as I was telling Don, have a tendency to sell out quick. And I think because everybody been hibernating this week, so they're going to come out in droves tomorrow night.
They're going to be cabin fever crazy coming out tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
Those students coming back to school. If they don't have to go to school tomorrow, it'll be even crazier because they won't have been to school. They want to go to school just to show up one night and not be in class, but come watch a game.
Just watch the game. Yeah. It's a 2-hour delay. They've already called 2-hour delay.
2-hour delay for schools.
So we'll be in school tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah.
Get back in, go a couple hours late, and come back for the big game over at Smith tomorrow night. We'll see Dennis there with those two tall midgets and a few other people to go with them.
Yeah, we have the midgets with us.
You got it. Thanks to Don Moore again. Thanks to, again, all the people who came in, the Davises and the Wilsons who joined us this evening at Shane's Rib Shack. Don't forget again, you got 50 big wings or 40 chicken tenders, and that's all in your hands, ready to go home for the Super Bowl for just $35. Grab some extra Shane's sides to go with it, and you can't beat the food at Shane's. We'll see you again next week. Basketball in Focus. The court report is complete for another week. We'll see you next time.